TV trash. Some of us like to say that animators in the 1970s and early 80s were completely devoid of creative ideas, but that's not really the case. They had a lot of ideas, they just had a lot of really bad ones. One of the really annoying and tired tropes of animation in the 70s and 80s was making cartoons adapted from live-action TV stars and giving them really outrageous and really stupid settings in order to make them different and more kidified. You could argue it started with those new Scooby-Doo movies that featured a lot of celebrities and other characters as guest stars, which were fun in their own way and led to a semi-revival of that show in more recent times. But then the concept got way out of hand. Let's give the Three Stooges superpowers! Let's do it again with the Harlem Globetrotters! Let's put the Partridge Family in the world of the Jetsons! Really, who was asking for a Partridge Family cartoon? But again, perhaps the most infamous was when Hanna-Barbera tried to turn Happy Days into the Doctor Who cartoon they failed to get permission to make. I already made my review of that mess, so go find that video if you haven't seen it. And that still didn't stop HB from going even further and making animated versions of Happy Days' two most successful spin-offs as well. Yes, they made cartoons of both of those shows, so it's finally time to get them over with. Beginning with the Mork and Mindy animated series. So this Mork and Mindy series, I'm not so sure if it's any type of continuation of the original series as much as it's completely retelling the series. Especially since it aired about a year after the original show ended, and the likes of the two main characters being married and their son Mirth are nowhere to be found here. Thank goodness for small miracles, I suppose. Yep, even in the 1980s reboots were in vogue and apparently they didn't waste that much time. For what it's worth, the Hanna-Barbera wiki site claims it to be a prequel to the original. That doesn't explain, then, how Mindy and her dad and everyone else had no knowledge of Mork's prior visit when he showed up in 1977, but it had been established even back in his original debut on Happy Days that Mork was capable of erasing people's memories, so I guess we can go with that. Of course, even if it is a prequel, it still gets points off for not beating Alf to the punch and making the show about Mork's previous life on his home planet of Ork, which would have been every level of awesome. Nope, instead it's pretty much the same as the first couple seasons of the first show, with the main change being that in addition to living with Mindy and her dad, Mork is also instructed by Orson to enroll in Mindy's high school. What? Okay, yes, I know this show was made for the younger audiences of Saturday mornings, but are you seriously saying you couldn't have taken the more sensical route of having him go to college?
Mork, cooking class is over.
But I still have to beat the eggs, whip the cream, and toss the salad.
Isn't this exciting, Mork?
Big deal. I sit like that all the time, and I don't have a big nose to balance me.
So basically, this show becomes my favorite Martian meets Saved by the Bell, as it's Mork getting into the same similar crazy shenanigans that he did in the original series, with the addition of giving him regular antagonists out to discover his little secret.
You'll regret it. I know your secret. I'll expose you to the whole world and Mount High, too.
Mork, he's right. What'll we do? You'll be ruined.
Oh, Min, you underestimate me my earthly powers. See that crooked finger ham?
Yeah? So what? Mork, Mindy, what are you doing in those silly costumes?
Now, even when you take in the unnecessary detail of putting Mork in high school, most of the stories still look like they could work.
A little Orkin Zap will rid you of that in a spiffy jam.
Is it gone?
Yeah, but,
Oh, Mork, thank you.
Just a teensy miscalculation, Min. I'll fix it.
My ears! You've given me elephant ears!
Oh, look at the bright side, Min. You can flap them and keep yourself cool all summer.
Mork!
Okay. I'll take care of it.
I said they could work. I never said they didn't have issues. There was really only one episode that grinded my gears, and that was the one that introduced Mork's parents into the show. His parents. Mork isn't supposed to have parents. It's established in the show that he and all Orkans are born from test tubes. And no, we can't assume this was a case of the creators not knowing the source material, because they do acknowledge the whole plot element of Orkans aging backwards and make it a major plot point of this episode. Regardless, the show does come off as its creators taking advantage of the animation medium to make stories and actions that they probably couldn't manage to do in the live-action setting. And for that, it does kind of work. It's goofy and silly, but hey, the original Mork and Mindy was goofy and silly, so it's not that much of a stretch here.
Earthlings don't always make sense, Your Immenseness. They line up their females to decide which one is the most beautiful on the outside, when the most beautiful parts of the people are on the inside, where they can't be seen.
Then this beauty contest is just a silly charade.
Well, maybe not in this case.
Even if the animated Mork series isn't considered canon in yours or anyone else's eyes, I can still kinda see it as an extension of the original series on some level. I cannot say that for what they did to Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne, let's join the army. What, Cheryl? Where do I sign up? I'm with you.
Ah, yes, everyone remember Laverne and Shirley? The show about two go-getting single women best friends who were never going to let the trivialities of bad jobs and poor love lives get them down, and always believed that if they just stuck together, they could make all their dreams come true. How does Hanna-Barbera turn that into a Saturday morning cartoon? Let's take the plot of one episode from the original series, that itself was a copycat from a Happy Days episode, stretch it into a whole series of its own, and then make it a copy of half the cartoons we and every other studio were making in the 70s. Think I'm exaggerating this? Let's get into the Laverne and Shirley animated series and see why in this case, the L on Laverne's chest should have stood for loser. So we get off to a great start with the opening music just being a retread of some military glee club marching tune. I mean, it's not like the original show had one of the greatest theme songs ever for the cartoon to look up to. So let's get the basics out of the way first and point out that we have no damn clue when this cartoon takes place. Keep in mind that Laverne and Shirley was a period piece anyway, like the show it was spun off from, taking place at least 20 years earlier than when the show first aired. This series actually premiered a year earlier than the Mork cartoon in 1981, which was also a year after the titular duo relocated from Milwaukee to Los Angeles in the earlier series. So why exactly did they choose to enlist in the Army once again? You know the answer! Never explained!
I thought we were going to join the army to see the world. Instead, all we've seen is the inside of foxholes.
Instead, we just jump into the first episode, Invasion of the Booby Snatchers. Not gonna go there.
Anybody could see your problems. You're supposed to use your shovel, not your face. Laverne!
Attention!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a pig.
Very nice foxhole you got there, Laverne.
Relax, Cheryl. It's only squealy.
That's a pig.
Sergeant Timebuckle sent me out here to inspect the troops. Tisk, 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 tisk.
What seems to be the matter?
Everyone can see that's a pig, right? So yeah, pig. No other explanation, just pig. And we're supposed to just roll with it. In the mud, I guess. I mean, yes, technically Laverne and Shirley is still part of a cinematic universe that includes a space alien that can drink and fight duels with his finger, but still, pig!
Aw, did the little piggy fall down into the deep foxhole?
That's right. Little Piggy with his walkie-talkie fell into the deep foxhole. Hello, Sergeant Turnbuckle. Come in, please.
Oh, no!
And trust me, this is only the beginning. How much more ludicrous does this get? Well, let's get into the actual plot of the first episode. Laverne, Shirley, and Pig accidentally launch themselves in a rocket and get captured by aliens who are planning to invade the Earth. If you all had to pause this video right now just to try and process that, I do not blame you in the slightest.
She is changing our course program.
Oh!
We are out of control.
Come on, guys. Head for our rocket.
Do something, Zarkon. I'll lighten our load.
Hooray, we're out!
We'll be back, Earthlings. We'll be back.
And the lunacy does not stop there. We also get the duo landing on a ripoff of Kong Island, discovering a possible werewolf and Bigfoot, having to fight the Black Knight in the Middle Ages, stopping a mad scientist from stealing the talent from the Army football team. Oh, good freaking night, they made Space Jam before Space Jam! I'm not making any of this up. The evidence is right here. They turned Laverne and Shirley into a superhero action cartoon. I've made jokes about fan fiction in the past, and some people haven't really liked that, but I can't think of another description. This is like if one of Miller or Milkus's kids saw their show, wrote their own version for a school project, Daddy saw it, and somehow inspiration. Hopefully they gave the kid at least a huge batch of cookies as payment for the idea. The show did get a second season that merged with the Mork cartoon to form the Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley Fonz Hour. Man, was that a mouthful. And if you're wondering why the Fonz is in there, that's because this cartoon was also changed to Laverne and Shirley with special guest star the Fonz. Seriously, were the title writers paid by the letter? Bringing in Mr. Fonzarelli as a mechanic for the Army motor pool. And yes, the dog Mr. Cool from the Fonz's last cartoon comes back as well. No, I don't know if they ever explain when and how Fonz got back to his own time, because those episodes are buried harder than any smart fan on the internet can accuse his favorite wrestler of being. I can say that in this season, Shirley was voiced by Lynn Marie Stewart, because it was by this time that Cindy Williams walked off the main show and filed suit against Paramount due to them not meeting her contract demands to accommodate her pregnancy, leading to the character of Shirley getting married and written out of that show completely. As it was, this season of the cartoon got only 8 episodes before it, Fonzie, and Mork and everyone were finally put to rest. And thankfully, cartoonists took the hint and never made another cartoon adaptation like this again. Except for when they did it to the Dukes of Hazzard and Gilligan's Island and Punky Brewster and oh good night, what were you thinking there? Hollywood can get more addicted to bad cartoon adaptations than they can to crack cocaine. At least one of these shows I can give a pass to because they were making a cartoon of a live-action show that was already cartoony in its own right. Like many of those other cartoons, at least the animation is decent in replicating the characters, and they have the same actors voicing them, but I have no goddamn clue what they were thinking with the other one. I cannot for the life of me see why someone thought kids would want to see the wisecracking women their mommies watched in prime time turned into soldiers fighting aliens. With all these shows made from the Miller Milkus library, we should thank our lucky stars they never gave Joni and Chachi their own cartoon. Actually, I take that back. A cartoon about Joni and Chachi as globe-traveling, crime-fighting super spies might have been better than the actual Joni Loves Chachi. See you next time on TV Trash.